Southeast Texas. I am Deja Garrison, joined with investigative reporter / anchor Lauren Hensley here, and we are talking the coronavirus, something that's on a lot of folks' minds this morning all across our area after one man was confirmed to have been admitted to Baptist Hospital for testing. So we do not know just yet if he has the coronavirus, but we do know he is being treated right now at Baptist Hospital. And a lot of people have questions, and we want to make sure you get the facts. We don't want people to be worried if there's no need to be, but we want to make sure you are as informed as possible. So first things first, Lauren, give us the basics.
Sure. So this man was admitted around 9:45 to Baptist Hospital with flu-like symptoms. Now, what elevates this in this case is that the man had a layover in Beijing. Now, I do want to point out that 700 miles away from the epicenter of where the coronavirus is happening. That's in Wuhan. He was in Beijing, again, 700 miles away. But because he was in China, personnel at Baptist, they're taking the necessary precautions to isolate this patient. And again, this is not a confirmed case of the coronavirus. It's not even a suspected case of the coronavirus. Right now, officials, they are testing and they're monitoring him, and we should have those results back hopefully within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, so talk to us about what's happening at Baptist right now. A lot of people are saying, okay, I have a loved one, a friend who's being treated at the hospital. Should they be worried? What does the process look like to test?
That's a really great question, Dejanique, and it's a question we've been getting online a lot. So Baptist wants you to know that they are open for business and your loved one is safe. So right now, the patient in question, they are being put in a specialized pressurized room. So that means that the patients at the rest of the hospital, they're not breathing in the same air. So he is isolated, he is in that pressurized room. And when I did speak with the doctor of the ER, he said that the patient is in good spirits. He's actually watching TV and hanging out.
That's good to hear.
So the medical personnel over there, they feel very confident about the procedures they took to keep everybody safe. And they say really they want people to have the right information that this, again, is not a confirmed case. And really it's going to take the next 24 hours to 48 hours to get those results back from the CDC to really determine the level of threat here.
Did they say why it would take so long? For instance, if you go to the doctor and you have the flu, they normally can tell you pretty quickly. Did they elaborate on why it'll take a couple days?
That's a really good question, and I think they just want to be very thorough because this is important information to get out, and they want to be accurate. They don't want to be first, they want to be accurate. And speaking of, kind of test results in the United States, I think there are some facts and figures regarding cases in the United States. So there are 11 confirmed cases, none of them in Texas.
Right.
That's the good news. And right now, 206 tests, they have come back negative. 76 are still pending, but now that we have this new information here in Southeast Texas, probably 77 test results still pending now.
And that's something experts have been talking about all week, Lauren, just kind of putting the coronavirus in perspective as it pertains to U.S. cases. They were saying right now the flu has killed more Americans than the coronavirus has, and right now they don't feel like it's something that's going to turn into a huge issue here. Right. But anytime you hear about it being in your own backyard, of course, it causes you to pause and listen up.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And they're still saying the best thing you can do is wash those hands, right? And again, the reason why this situation here with this particular patient is kind of elevated and precautionary measures need to be taken is because he did have that layover in Beijing. So let's say you're at home, right? And you start feeling maybe feverish or have a cold. Chances are it is just going to be that common cold. It is just going to be the flu because you have not been to the epicenter in China where a lot of people are being affected and impacted. And again, what makes this coronavirus so tricky for doctors and medical personnel is that it does look a lot like the common cold. It does look a lot like the flu. But again, the situation only becomes elevated if you have been exposed to either somebody who's been to China or if you visited China yourself.
All right, so we're going to go on to Facebook Live just to see if you guys have any questions regarding what's happening. No questions, you should.
So guys, keep your questions coming in. We've been we've been glued to the CDC coming up with the best tips for you guys. And again, the CDC, they're monitoring this situation, and they say that washing your hands is still the best practice at home.
Okay, so we do have a question from Melissa. She wants to know, what about all of the people that he passed coming into the hospital? Do we think that there will be any type of risk? Should those people be looking to reach out to medical personnel?
Right. So what I'm being told by folks at Baptist is that they were aware of what the situation was before the person was admitted in. So they did take the necessary precautions right away to isolate this patient. So I think in this particular situation that the medical personnel, they did a good job of isolating right away. But again, if you do have any fear, if you do have any concern, you can always bring that up to medical personnel and they can help address any concerns you may have. But again, I'm being told that they were very proactive in isolating this man as soon as they were aware of the situation. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Something else people were asking earlier in the week, they were asking about packages. We know how many goods and services come from China, and they were saying, hey, can it travel, via the mail? Can it, live if it's on some of these surfaces that make it to us? And the experts were saying they do not think that it can make it from China to the United States and still be viable. So that's something else just to keep in mind if you are getting goods and services coming from China. Experts say they don't think this is something you have to worry about.
The CDC says really person to person is the way this is spreading, and you must come in really close contact. For instance, they estimate that you must be within 5 to 6 feet from the person who has the coronavirus. And again, the reason why this case in Baptist is elevated and they're taking some more precautions is because, again, this man did have a layover in Beijing, China. But to put things in perspective, Beijing, Wuhan, 700 miles away.
Yeah.
So very far away from one another. But the necessary precautions, isolating that person, that pressurized room, they were taken right away.
All right. So, Lauren, Mariah wants to know, what is the health department going to do if the tests do come back positive?
Yeah. Mariah, that is a really good question. And I do know some of our reporters, they've done follow-up stories regarding the best protocol. And we believe that it is, they will then transport that patient. But again, doctors did not go into that detail with me because they said they really wanted to wait until that 48-hour, 24-hour mark to have all of the facts before making a decision like that. But in general, what we know is that the patients are usually transported elsewhere.
Okay, and we want to continue to put things into perspective for you all, just so that people aren't panicked and you have the facts and you can make informed decisions with the information that's being provided. Right now, 492 deaths have been reported in China from the coronavirus, but we only have 11 confirmed cases here. So that just kind of gives you a little perspective as it pertains to the level of urgency health officials are placing on the coronavirus in the United States.
And Dejanique, to your point, within the last 2 or 3 weeks, we had 3 people in the state of Texas who were all being tested for the coronavirus, and we are very, very happy to report that all 3, there was 2 college students and another person as well. In those cases, those tests came back negative, but for sure, it hits close to home knowing that someone at Baptist Hospital is being tested for that coronavirus. So we're hoping for more good news that this test results come back negative. But again, it will take 24 hours to 48 hours for the CDC to provide those results.
Now, Lauren, we're also getting questions about this man's family. Have doctors told you whether or not his family has been isolated?
Yeah, they had not. And unfortunately, they couldn't get into a lot of details about the patient because of confidentiality rules. But they did reassure us that all the proper procedure when it comes to isolation was taken right away with this patient. And again, the only detail they provided was the man is in good spirits and he's watching TV in that pressurized room. So all good question, guys. And if we don't have the answer, we can always continue digging and working to get that information to you.
Absolutely. And so let's just one more time go over those symptoms, because I think it's important for people to realize how closely they can resemble the flu. And if you have been to China, had exposure to someone who's traveled to China, this is something for you to pay close attention to.
Yeah, for sure. And again, what makes this so challenging for medical professionals is that it really does look like the common cold or the flu. So that's why these test results are so necessary. And that's why we do have to pack our patients and we do have to give that full 24 to 48 hours because we want these results to be accurate. We want them to be correct.
All right, so you're looking at those symptoms on your screen. If you have a fever, a dry cough, mild breathing difficulty, so just a little tough to inhale and exhale, diarrhea, general body aches, and like you said, it's tough.
It just
because
sounds like a flu.
You hear these symptoms, and this is something you might say, oh, I need a day off of work. I need to rest in bed. But the telltale sign has been everyone who has gotten a positive test result, they've either gone to China or they have had exposure to someone who just come back from China.
And that is the common denominator. So I want to talk a little bit about timeline. The patient was admitted to the hospital around 9:45 last night. That's what we know. And he was isolated right away. And what we're being told is that this person had a layover in Beijing, China. So that's about 700 miles from Wuhan. And when that male patient was coming back to the area, he started to get those flu-like symptoms. And I'm being told, contacted the hospital right away, described his travel itinerary, and then that's when he was admitted, put into those isolation chambers, those pressurized chambers in the hospital, Baptist hospitals. They have about 6 of them. Some of them are located in the emergency room. Some are located throughout the hospital. They couldn't go into the detail at the exact chamber that the man was being held in, but he is in one of those pressurized chambers. So that means the air he is breathing in is not the same air that folks in the hospital are breathing in.
And we keep using that phrase, pressurized chambers. So 12 News reporter Tyler Segerman not too long ago did a report on these pressurized chambers. He got to go behind the scenes. He talked to a nurse. She explained exactly how those work. So you can go to 12newsnow.com and search that story if you want more information about exactly how these pressurized chambers work. But again, as Lauren stated, he's not breathing the same air as everyone else, just to be on the safe side right now.
And some of the things they pointed out, I did get to see one, and what they pointed out is there's a speaker for communication. There's also an observation window, so medical personnel, they can keep an eye on this person. And yes, if there is a need to go in, there are safety protocols in place to allow for medical staff to get in and out, but they really want to limit the amount of time they're going in and out those doors. So that's why that window is there, and that's why there's a speaker that they can use to communicate with the person, inside that room at that time.
All right, again, so we would just like to recap what's happening for those of you who may just be joining us. There is one man right now at Baptist Hospital. He is under observation. He has been tested, and he may have been exposed to the coronavirus. It will take 24 to 48 hours before the CDC can confirm whether or not he actually has this virus. And then at that point, specific procedures will go into effect in order to make sure those who he has been exposed to are either quarantined or, they're taken care of in the proper way.
Right.
And then treatment will begin for this American citizen who had been traveling in China.
Yes, he was in the Beijing area. So again, 700 miles away from Wuhan, which is really the epicenter of where this virus is all going down. And, that's important to point out that there is that protocol and procedure in place if it is the worst case scenario. So it could be highly probable that the test results do come back negative for the coronavirus. And again, to put that into perspective, in the United States, 206 tests have already come back negative. There are only 11 confirmed cases of the coronavirus here in the U.S. None of them are in Texas. So we really need to wait for those results coming back from the CDC. And again, they'll take 24 to 48 hours. So right now, medical staff, they took that proper procedure in place. So they're telling me they feel folks at the hospital, if you have a loved one there, that they are safe, they are properly being cared for, and that they don't fear an exposure because that procedure was taken and they followed that policy to a T.
Great information, Lauren. And again, we just want to reiterate, we want to give you the facts so that you can make the most informed decisions, so that you're not operating out of fear. As we continue to get more information and these details are confirmed, we will update you on air, online, and on your 12 News Now app. So make sure you do have your notifications turned on for breaking news on your app, and we'll be here the entire way.